All right, guys. Looks like our time together is getting cut a little short. So condensing things here, jumping ahead to supply and demand. Three basic lessons left: demand, then supply, then consumer economics. Then I will have a final farewell for you after that. So here is when you put the supply and demand curve together. You can see that there is two sides here. We have price, okay, as price goes up that way, and quantity. Okay, so we're looking at, for demand, if the price is high, the quantity demanded is low. If the price is low, the quantity demanded typically goes up. So also then we have, if the supply, what are people willing to supply? If the price that is paid for a product is low, there's typically fewer suppliers in the market. If the profitability or the price available goes up, there are typically more suppliers. Every market is trying to find this equilibrium. So the law of demand basically, and I'm going to try to move through this pretty quick here. The law of demand is, what are people willing and able to buy at a given price? Okay, it all has to do with the good. It all has to do with what's being purchased here. Remember, what the demand is different than what your wants are. I want a Porsche. Okay. I really want one, but I am not driving any demand for a Porsche because I can't afford one. Okay, I want Gucci belts. Okay, we might all want a Gucci belt, but are we driving demand for Gucci belts at the cost of $200 or $300 per belt, or not? Okay, so that's, there's a difference between what are you willing to pay and what are you able to pay. What do we want, and what do we truly drive in a demand? Okay, so looking at some things that affect demand. One is what's called the substitution effect. When you want to substitute one thing for another, are you more willing to pay $8 for a pizza than $6? And again, we're assuming that the quality of the pizza is the same. Regardless, you're more likely, if pizza's $6, you're more likely to say, yeah, give me that pizza, than if it's $8, $10, $12. That's because what your income gets you, and so forth. So the lower the price, typically, the higher the demand. And again, we're assuming that quality is the same here. So if the price continues to go higher, you might start to look for a substitution. If pizzas are $12, $15, $20, you might start to say, you know what, instead of getting a pizza, I'm going to get some cheeseburgers. I'm going to get some tacos. Okay, so, as price goes up, you can begin to substitute that product for another product. Okay. The effect of your income. Okay, real income is the measure of what your purchasing power is. As your real income goes up, you are more likely to demand more. Okay, and demand higher quality products also. But so that's another effect on demand. Okay, and also this is like the opposite effect of price. Okay, if price is going down, you're going to demand more, but if your income's going up, you're also going to demand more, and they, in essence, are doing the same thing. Okay, marginal utility is another thing that affects demand. Think about it. Think about if you're buying pizza slices by the slice. Okay, first pizza slice, fantastic. Second pizza slice, yeah, most of us might go for a second pizza slice. But once we start getting to that third, fourth, fifth pizza slice, I'm not as willing to buy a third slice of pizza or a fourth slice of pizza as I was the first or second slice of pizza. Okay? The marginal utility, the actual satisfaction I get out of that next unit goes down. Okay? We have the law of diminishing marginal utility, which is what I basically just described. That third, fourth, fifth slice of pizza is not as satisfying as the first and second. Watching a third movie in the night is not as satisfying as the first movie. So forth. Spring fever. You want to go outside at nice days. Yeah, nice days in April and May. Yes, we're all outside. Oh, it's so beautiful. It hasn't been this nice out in a long time. By June, okay, it's nice out. I'm not as enticed to go outside. So there's diminishing marginal utility. So, taking a look at the demand curve. This is, in essence, the demand curve. Okay. And what the demand curve is, when we look at demand, we're talking about the entire curve. We're talking about the entire curve. When we talk about the quantity demanded, we're talking about a specific spot on the curve. So at $6, 2,000 are demanded. Okay, so we're looking at what would cause these shifts. Now, it's important to talk about movement, okay, versus shift. Movement is when the curve does not change. We're going up and down on that curve. A shift is when the entire curve shifts. That's a big difference. Okay, so we see the shifts in the demand curve. So what can shift the demand curve versus what we were discussing is movement on the demand curve. Okay, so here are the 5 major things: consumer income. Okay, what prices? What amount of money you have. Prices of related goods, the number and composition of the consumers, and consumer expectations, consumer taste. Okay, so looking at that. Price of related goods. All right, you can look at rivals. I'm buying a Coke or a Pepsi. Well, if the price of Coke doubles, I might switch to Pepsi. All right, so that's rivaling products. Alternatives. Okay, and it's kind of similar to rivals. I might buy pizza or I might buy tacos. If the price of tacos skyrockets because it's Cinco de Mayo, I might buy some pizza. Also, complementary goods. All right. What's the demand of golf balls? Well, I need to go golfing if I'm going to buy golf balls. What does it cost for clubs? What does it cost to go to the golf course? And so forth. If it's too expensive to go to the golf course, or I can't go to the golf course because they're closed, then demand for golf balls is basically zilch. So, makeup of the population, we see there's population growth, demand. If there's just more consumers, demand will typically go up. But also there's age bubbles that can have an effect. Baby boomers entering assisted living facilities, okay, as the population ages and there's a bubble that's going to be in that 70, 80-year-old range that they're going to assisted living facilities, that can drive demand, shift the demand curve. Consumer expectations. These are a little bit harder to predict. Okay, what do you expect the product is going to do for you? Are you going to lose weight? Are you going to be healthier? Are you going to feel better? Are you going to get greater enjoyment? Whatever. What will future prices be? If you think next week the price of that object is going to go up, you're willing to buy it now. If you think next week the price is going to go down, you're probably not going to buy it right now. Consumer taste. Now, this is the hardest to nail down. Tastes are, hard to identify. They change over time and so forth. What is trendy? A couple of years ago, whatever. I always use the example of the Nike socks that were really popular. They were like $9 a pair of socks, and everyone had matching socks to go with their outfits and so forth. Well, they were really trendy for a while, and people were willing to pay for them. They're not as trendy now. People, oftentimes are buying plain white or plain black socks, and just wearing them. Okay, so they're not paying for those top of the line socks as much anymore. That's consumer taste. They change over time. It changes the demand over time. All right, that's going to wrap up demand. Um, we got supply left, consumer economics, and then a final farewell for you.